Let's talk about why no one is moving into the city of Atlanta.
I'm not moving.
Why not?
Despite Atlanta being a vibrant city known for its rich history, diverse culture, and a great economy, people are skipping out on the city altogether and they are moving to the suburbs of Atlanta. The appeal of bigger homes, better schools, and quieter neighborhoods is drawing more families away from Atlanta, and as the cost of living increases and congestion increases, not to mention crime, in the city of Atlanta, the suburbs are drawing more and more people in. Hi, I'm Sarah Maslowski with KeyPoint Homes Group. I'm a local real estate agent right here in the Northeast Metro Atlanta area, and I help people from all over the country relocate right here to Georgia. Over the past 4 years, I have helped nearly 250 people make a move here in Georgia, with a vast majority of those coming from out-of-state clients, probably someone just like you that's watching this video. And out of all those clients, only one of them chose to live in the actual city limits of Atlanta. So before you yell at me in the comments and tell me that I'm wrong by saying that no one is moving to Atlanta, and while yes, 0.4% of my clientele in the last 4 years has technically made a move to Atlanta, the vast majority of people are choosing to move to the suburbs instead. So why are so many people skipping the city and choosing the suburbs? And what are the areas that they're choosing to live in instead? One of the biggest reasons people are choosing to live in the suburbs instead of the city is because of the cost of living. In order to live in a safe, nice section of town, it's going to cost you a pretty penny.
Oh, what do you know? That's going to cost me a pretty penny.
Housing prices and rental rates in Atlanta have risen significantly, making it difficult for many to afford a comfortable lifestyle within the city limits, especially if you are looking for a bigger home, single-family home with a good amount of yard space, or heck, even any amount of yard space. It's going to be challenging in the city of Atlanta. You can find smaller homes, townhomes, and condos in the cities that range between $300,000 to $400,000 price point, but many of these are less than 1,200 square feet. So if you're a family, this likely isn't going to be a good option. The suburbs offer more affordable housing options, allowing families to purchase larger homes with more land for the same price or even less than a smaller, less desirable property in the city. People with pets and kids have a tendency to be more drawn to all of the space that you can have outside of living in the city limits, especially for the same price that you would pay for a home in Atlanta. Now, if you want a condo, however, the city is going to be one of the best places you can find here in North Georgia. Atlanta and a few of the towns right outside the city limits have condos, but if you're looking farther north, you're not going to have very many condo options. You're going to find more townhomes, apartments, and single-family homes. And condos are kind of few and far between, although they do exist. Safety and quality of life naturally play a massive role in why people choose the suburbs instead of the city. Many people perceive the suburbs as safer with lower crime rates compared to the city, and that's a fact. This draws families, particularly those with children, to head to the suburban areas for a more quieter, relaxed environment. Many families with young kids want to be in an area where they can get connected with other families with kids of similar ages, and this is much easier to do in neighborhoods that are created to attract young families with their amenities and location. A lot of the neighborhoods here in the suburbs, especially those with HOAs, are going to have pools, tennis courts, playgrounds. The sense of community that is found in the suburbs is a big deal for families, especially those that are brand new to the area and want to be able to feel like they are part of a close-knit community where they can get to know their neighbors. Many people don't want to raise their kids in the hustle and bustle of the city, but want to be in an area with plenty of parks and playgrounds, sports fields, and all those amenities and access to outdoor spaces for their kids to run around and play. Naturally, you're going to find a lot more of this in the suburbs. Of course, families with young kids are worried about having their kids in great schools, so getting a quality education is another factor that's driving people to the suburbs. We have some incredible school systems, especially here in the Northeast Metro Atlanta area. There are some great schools in the city, many of which are private though, and the ones that are going to be highly ranked are located in those areas that are very, very expensive. Now, a lot of the areas that have excellent schools in the suburbs, they're also going to be pricey, but again, you're going to be able to get a lot more house in these areas compared to that in the city, plus all the other benefits that come with being in the suburbs. Schools in the suburbs offer smaller class size, better facilities, and more extracurricular opportunities and specialized programs because they are backed by more funding than schools in the heart of the city. If you know anything about Atlanta, then you are not surprised that people are opting not to move into the city because of the traffic.
In this traffic, nothing moves.
If you think about having to deal with the traffic on a daily basis, that's really the only reason that I would need to steer clear from living in the city. All of these reasons for why people are choosing the suburbs over the city, they're nothing new. These are reasons that you would have had with most major cities and the surrounding areas. One of the good things though is a city is full of opportunities, jobs, and events, and it's going to attract a lot of young professionals who aren't worried about most of these issues until they decide to start growing a family or their lifestyles change a bit. I recently made a video highlighting the specific towns that a bulk of my personal clients have chosen to move to recently, so make sure you go there and check out that. But the great thing about North Georgia is that you have a ton of great options with plenty of variety. Atlanta and the surrounding suburbs are broken up into what we refer to as ITP and OTP. ITP being inside the perimeter and OTP outside the perimeter of Atlanta. And this is referring to the 285 loop that goes around all of Atlanta. And that is a major interstate system that you will refer to a lot and use a lot here in the metro Atlanta area. Anything inside the I-285 loop is considered ITP, anything outside, obviously OTP. A lot of people who work inside the city will choose to live right outside the perimeter because you get bigger houses and more space while still being really close to the city. If you continue to go farther out from this circle around the city, you start to get into more of the areas where people are relocating to. Northwest of the city, you have Kennesaw, Marietta, and Roswell that are all popular, especially the East Cobb area. Parts of Sandy Spring are outside of the perimeter as well and are also very popular. Now, in my opinion, all of these towns still have quite a bit of that hustle and bustle feel to them. They are all very developed areas where major growth has already taken place. You're not going to have an abundance of new construction options in these areas. You're also looking at an average price point of around $573,000 in Marietta, all the way up to $974,000 in Sandy Springs. So it's definitely a costly area to be in. You're paying for that convenience to be a little bit closer to the city, being in a highly developed area, and that northwest area is going to be where some of the highest rated schools are. If you keep going directly north of the city, you're going to run into Milton and Alpharetta, and over to the east just a bit is Johns Creek. This pocket is definitely one of the most highly desired areas. I have made dozens of videos about Alpharetta, so you can go watch those here to learn why it is just so desired. Milton is one of the most expensive towns in the North Metro area with an average sales price of almost $1.4 million. I'll link a video here as well so you can learn more about that town, but you're gonna find a lot of homes on acreage, equestrian properties, 3 to 5 acres is pretty normal there, plus homes that have a lot more than that. And many of the homes here are on massive estate-sized lots. Like I said, you're also gonna find a lot of equestrian properties and several luxury communities and of course, great schools. Milton's average sales price makes Alpharetta's sound not that bad. It's only $876,000. Alpharetta is a little bit more developed than Milton, and by that I mean there's a lot more shopping and amenities, restaurants taking up land. It's also bigger geographically, where Milton has a lot of land that is not developed on, but it's owned by families and estates, not developers. Johns Creek is similar to Alpharetta, mainly because it is essentially split off from Alpharetta when it was created in 2006, but the average sales price here is just over $1 million. The reason for that is you're a little bit closer to Atlanta in Johns Creek than you are in Alpharetta. In Johns Creek, you're gonna find, again, great schools, great amenities, and a great price tag. If you go directly east of the city to areas like Tucker, Lilburn, directly to the south of the city, and immediately to the west of the city, I personally don't see a ton of clients choosing these areas to move to. The northeast and northwest are definitely the most popular. And if you've seen any of my videos before, you know that I focus mostly on the northeast side of the city because this is where people are choosing to live. The area you will hear me talk a lot about are Cumming, Swanee, Buford, Gainesville, Flowery Branch, Brazelton, Dawsonville, and of course, Alpharetta, Johns Creek, and Milton. There's also a great town just north of Marietta called Canton, which is a great area to be in as well. If you want to learn about what makes each of these areas unique and whether or not they are a good fit for you and your family, make sure you check out this playlist of videos where I cover all of these towns and more. Obviously, now these are not the only towns people are moving to in Georgia, and I've sold houses all across the north half of the state, but each of these towns has something to offer that is bringing people in, whether it's being located on the lake in Gainesville, Buford, or Cumming, the great shopping and schools that you find in Alpharetta and Buford, more affordable pricing in Brazelton and Flowery Branch and Dawsonville. Each of these great towns are drawing in families singles, retirees, you name it. Again, if you want more localized information about each of these towns, check out this playlist or leave me a comment about a town you are interested in and I can talk about that next. If you are considering making a move here to Georgia, I want to be your real estate agent. You can find my contact information below this video in my pinned comment. And if you haven't checked out this video, you need to watch this one next.